So why did Varys rat out Rhaegar Targaryen to his father, the Mad King Aerys II, and ruin Rhaegar's plans to remove his father and take the throne for himself? All which precipitated Robert's rebellion and the fall of House Targaryen. Well, firstly, let's assume that Varys did do this, because we don't actually know for certain, but it does sound like something Varys would do. He was Master of Whisperers to the Mad King. It was Sir Barristan Selmy that attributes this action to Varys, him whispering in the ear of the Mad King. And it would be very on brand for Varys to do exactly that. Aerys, the Mad King, he was a paranoid mess by this point. It was everyone for themselves. Varys couldn't not report hearing Rhaegar's plan, because if it got back to Aerys that Varys knew, or that Varys was not very good at his job and didn't know, that's just not going to look good for Varys. He wants to keep his position at court, and so he has to play the game. I also think Varys may have thought that he could control the Mad King more than he could control a King Rhaegar. That if Rhaegar's plan did go through, Varys himself would lose a lot of control and influence at the royal court. And he can't have that. Varys is the most likely suspect for having alerted the king to the fact that his son was plotting behind his back. That there's going to be this huge tourney at Harrenhal, everyone's going, and they're all going to get together and talk about how they can get rid of you. So you might want to turn up and throw a spanner in the works, which is exactly what Aerys did. The Mad King had not left the Red Keep in 5 years. He was essentially a hermit, a recluse. But he turns up at the tourney at Harrenhal, and his very attendance sends shockwaves through everyone there. No one was expecting him to rock up. A lot had gone down in the years leading up to this moment. I wouldn't put it past Varys having a hand in the dissolution of the one-time friendship between Aerys and Tywin Lannister, his one-time hand. That relationship, it went south, and Aerys became more and more reliant on Varys and a bunch of sycophants. And because of this, the realm, it was not in stable hands. Tywin was a good hand of the king. He kept things steady. In his absence, in the end years of Aerys's reign, things just got more and more chaotic, more erratic. And it wouldn't surprise me if the reason that Varys was doing all of this, destabilizing the crown, biding his time, waiting for the right moment, I think it would make sense if Varys himself was a Blackfyre, which is a bastard branch of House Targaryen, started by Daemon Blackfyre, the illegitimate then legitimate son of King Aegon IV of House Targaryen. I think Varys could be a Blackfyre, and I think Illyrio could be a Blackfyre. I think they are worming their way into positions of power, because one day they want to pull the rug out from beneath House Targaryen. And Varys had spent a lot of time creating a situation where the Mad King was incredibly volatile and everything was just teetering on an edge. If Rhaegar comes in and replaces his father, that's not the plan. And Rhaegar, would he listen to Varys? It was a risk Varys could not afford to take. Whether he's a Blackfyre or not, he did not want things to change unless he was the one changing them. He likes to pull all the strings in King's Landing, and he was doing a good job. So I think he did tell Aerys intentionally, so to pit father and son against each other, just as he had between king and hand. Varys is all about coming between people and sowing discord. Rhaegar was pretty popular before the whole Lyanna Stark incident. People liked him. That is a very different kettle of fish to the Mad King. I think Varys saw it as, I've done all this work, I've made the crown vulnerable, and I'm going to strike. But I'll do it when I want to do it, not when Rhaegar wants to do it. And so Varys spun his web and then he scuttled off into the shadows, into the corners. Varys is the cat with 9 lives. I think he did all of this intentionally to sow discord and disruption, because Varys wants to control everything that is going on. And Rhaegar was ruining it all. And it just made Varys look all the more loyal to the Mad King if he was the one to scuttle along and tell him about Rhaegar's plot. Those are my thoughts anyway.